Hi, I tried to make a video before about my mental health, but my phone's like, hey, you don't have enough room for that. So I'm going to talk about the last year of my life and how it's been one of the worst years of my life ever. This is very emotional. I might start crying. I'm not sure. I've talked about this a lot with multiple people. So if I end up crying, fuck. So I'll go from last spring break. Last spring break, I was going to attempt suicide. I was going to take my uncle's pills. I'm not going to state anybody's name in this because if they watch it, they know who they are. And I don't want people who know who they are, who know who I am, who know who they are, to attack them personally, or anybody to be attacked, or for people to know who it is. I don't know what I'm saying. It's the middle of the night. So I was going to attempt suicide, and I fell asleep before I could take his pills because I was exhausted from putting up with their shit all day. And I was talking to my friend on the telly. No, I was texting him about it, and I fell asleep, and he thought I died, or he thought I was dying. So we called the police, and the police showed up at my house. And sorry if the camera's shaky. I'm shaking. So the police ended up showing up at my house, and I had to talk to them. And my uncle persuaded them to not make me go to a hospital because he was good friends with them. And I wish more than anything that I was put into the hospital that night, because then maybe I wouldn't have the experiences I've had in the last year, and I would have been put into foster care right then and there. I had to start seeing a doctor. He was a psychiatrist. I'm just going to call him Dr. L. He was the worst medical professional I have ever met in my life. Dr. L manipulated me. Dr. L told me that I have severe depression and general anxiety disorder, which are actual things I have. And he told my parents, my aunt and my uncle, that he was going to put me on medication to medicate this fabricated problem I had, because he thought I was lying. So he put me on medication and didn't tell me he thought I was lying. He only told my parents. My parents only told me that he thought I was lying because I switched medications. And they're like, we thought it was hilarious that you switched medications because this entire time you didn't need medication. He was playing you. And I'm like, fuck. So I had to get a job for the summer. And I had a laptop, and that's how I was talking to all my friends. So for the summer, I was working at this cafe where I lived. And I was a dishwasher. Around the 8th of August, I believe. I don't really remember dates because I have a lot of fuzzy memories. So around the 8th of August, they figured out that I had the laptop that I wasn't supposed to use, and they figured out I had a binder that I had bought off my friend. So they took my binder, they ripped it up, and they burned it. I cried. That binder was the only part of me I had at home that I felt true to. I cried so hard. And the 10th of August is my birthday. This was 2 days before my birthday. My birthday's always one of the worst days of the year. So my birthday came around, and I had to quit my job that day because apparently my job was interfering with my chores. So I had to quit my job. And I had a breakdown at work and had to leave early. And I didn't tell my parents I left early. And I ran away. I went to my friend's house. I was going to stay there. Her parents were fine with it. And My aunt came to their house because I told my Nana I was there because I wanted to spend my birthday with her. My Nana told my auntie because my auntie came into the store to buy cake mix to make me a cake. And she came into my friend's house, trespassed on her property. She dragged me out by my wrists, took me to the grocery store to talk to my Nana. And I was crying. And I told my auntie, I told her I didn't like my uncle. I didn't think he was a good person. I thought he was manipulating the both of us. And she told me that that wasn't true and all that. I don't really remember what she told me. I was crying so hard, and it was my birthday. I was just so upset. And I told them I was smoking. And she's like, okay, well, you're just not allowed to smoke anymore. After that day, I wasn't allowed to see my friend Rowan anymore. September rolls around. I'm back in school for a month. I get pulled from school because my parents tell me that I got suspended for 2 weeks for smoking on school property, which is actually false. My uncle made up that lie, and he actually just pulled me out of school because he thought all my friends were drug addicts and that they were a bad influence on me. So a couple weeks later, we move off island to this new place where I'm secluded. There's 600 people in this town, and it takes me 30 to 40 minutes to take a bus to school. 3 months, and I was pulled out of that school once again for a fake suspension that my grandma went to the school for, and it never happened, and my uncle accused students of doing students that didn't exist, because my grandma went, and these students didn't exist. He was accusing them of things. He called one of my best friends a drug dealer because she gave me iron tablets because I have an iron deficiency and they wouldn't bring me in to get tested. And I was falling asleep in class. I was exhausted all the time. And then a whole bunch of other stuff was going on. I had sex for the first time. And they found out, and they threatened this boy and made up a whole bunch of lies about him and told them to me and told me all these things like, oh, he said you weren't even a good lay and shit like that. And I was like, that doesn't sound like him. I've known him for 4 years. And I had to go see this woman at this office. I forgot what she does. I forgot what the name of her position is, but I had to go see her. And I love her. She's great. And she told my uncle, she's like, you talk to Leon like he's a normal human being. Don't talk about him when he's in the room like he's not here. Because my uncle had done multiple things over the year that had contributed to my deteriorating mental state. He told me he thought I was socially and mentally retarded while my cousin was over, and then told me to go hang out with her. My cousin was there, and she's 12. And I was like, what the fuck? And he told me I have the mindset of a 6-year-old. He accused me of putting my autistic brother in harm's way, which I never did. And he accused me of putting my cousin, my not even a year-old cousin, in harm's way, which I did not. He accused me of killing animals, which I didn't do. And this woman, he said I could not feel compassion, and this is how she explained it. If I told you to go drive my big monster truck in the parking lot, and you had never driven a car before and didn't have a license, could you do it properly? No, you couldn't. If you were never shown compassion in your life, would you be able to show compassion to others? Not properly. And this really stuck with me. And I remember her for that because she really helped me. Because I don't feel bad anymore about how I feel and how I don't feel normal. So I went back to, I ended up in a hospital 5 days later with 107 open wounds on my body. I was in the hospital for 12 days, and I was put into foster care after because I couldn't go back to my grandparents. After that, I've been in foster care since February, and I was admitted to a it wasn't a mental hospital. It was a place of assessment, and I was discharged after 3 days. But while I was there, I had a meeting with their psychiatrist or the doctor or whatever, and she told me that I was showing signs of PTSD, general anxiety, social anxiety, severe depression, and gender dysphoria. I'm currently seeking a therapist to talk about all this and get it all sorted out. I have gone to court to get out of my grandparents' custody, and I can't handle being in the same room with my grandfather anymore because of the abuse I had to put up with when I was younger. And I can't handle hearing my uncle's voice anymore, and anybody like him, personality-wise, triggers me. And I've been expelled from school since then because I had a breakdown at the principal, and I've been suffering once again with depression. It spikes for me from situation to situation, and I've been so depressed and so lonely since I've been in foster care and out of school. I hope somebody watches this and takes something out of it. I'll post more about the rest of my life, but this has been the last year.